Okay, so I don't make very many photo videos, but whenever I come across something that nobody else has fixed or nobody else has had problems with, I try and make a video. This is my 1998 Viper Coral fishing ski. It's a great boat. It ran great when I first bought it. It has the 1998 Johnson Venom 200. Close this. Hold this for a second. This for you guys. So, when I first bought this boat 4 years ago, it had the VRO fuel pump system, which means that it had a fuel pump right here that had two separate tanks, a fuel tank and an oil tank. This oil tank right here, and this oil tank's usually underneath this bad boy right here. So that fuel pump is notorious for going out, and a lot of people put these mechanical fuel pumps in to replace those, and they mix the oil and the gas tank manually, and that's what I did. I bought this thing off of, I believe, marineengine.com. A guy on a Johnson deal told me that they sell really good parts, so I bought this one. It was about $250. The ones on Amazon were like $150. So I wanted something that was as close to OEM as possible while still giving me performance. However, whenever I was on the lake at wide open throttle, the motor was surging really bad. It would surge after I got to about 20 miles an hour, and the entire boat would shake, and it would only get past about 3,000 RPMs, which was telling me that the boat was running really lean. And when I diagnosed this, I also, while I had it at wide open throttle, had somebody pushing this prime bulb to keep fuel in the motor, and guess what? It would run great after somebody would continue to prime it while running at wide open throttle. At first, I was like, well, I put a really expensive fuel pump in it. It can't be the fuel pump, it's got to be something else. And a lot of people told me that these temperature sensors right here, there's two of them, one on each head, if they go out, it would put the engine at limp mode. So I unplugged them, and still same problem. So it wasn't the sensors. Another thing is when you unplug that VRO pump, you will have a engine ringing whenever you first start it if this oil tank is on empty. And it's this two wire plug right here inside of here, and I'll show you where it's at. That way, if you want to do the full delete, you can. You just have to unplug that sensor and pull the tank off. So that sensor sits right down here. There's the other side of the plug. So you just unplug it and feed that wire through the loom, and you can pull the tank out. But back to this. So I still knew I was having fuel issues, but the carbs were good because it ran great before I replaced the fuel pump. And I had no issues with the rectifier down there. And all 4 spark plugs were working and replaced, as well as the coils were good. So I was like, well, I'll just put an edelbrock fuel pump on it. And lo and behold, that fixed it. So I guess if you, and I guess if you replace one of these or have one already on your boat and it starts up great and runs good up until about 3,000 RPMs at wide open throttle, check this. I don't have a fuel pressure tester to check anything without a fuel rail, but these work great. And the way I wired it is the starter's got a ground right here, so I put the ground there. And the old VRO pump will have a plug that you will unplug under here. It's like a 4-plug plug. And on that plug, and I'll show you, let me get a screwdriver. Okay, I'll take this off. There's 3 bolts on this little plastic cover, and this is about the entire wiring plug harness for the boat up underneath this cover here. And I could not figure out why my boat was running so bad. I had replaced all the fuel lines. I replaced it with a bigger filter. I replaced that hand pump. I took out and checked the ball valve, the anti-siphon valve on the fuel tank, and that wasn't it, because that is a common issue. But this plug right here, it's a 4-wire plug, and it's probably a different color on some models, but on this one, that purple wire right here was in the center of that plug. And you'll just go into it with a voltmeter and put the ground right there on the ground and check all of these when the boat is on accessory, not off accessory, because you don't want your fuel pump on when you're just sitting there. And that purple wire did it for me. So I just plugged in it. I pushed that purple wire off of that plug. Now it still has the original little nipple, just like the rest of them do, in case somebody ever wanted to put the VRO pump back on. I imagine they won't, because they're really bad about going out on the oil side and blowing motors up. But anyways, I hope that helps. I know I can't really show you what it was looking like out on the water, because I am no tech with editing videos. But if your boat is running it wide open throttle and you've replaced it with, I hate to say it, but really expensive, cheap Chinese mechanical pumps, put one of these on here. They're great. See if I can't get you a part number. Excuse my garage. That's the next project. So what I got, 4 to 7 psi. I was shown that the Johnson runs at about a 4 to 6, so I got this one, and that's the part number right there next to the gasoline. I took it out today, ran 45, 50 miles an hour with no problems. I hope this helps. Thanks, bye.